Hi, the SI meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Tuesday, June 4th. Just a spectacular morning here in the Mid-Atlantic region. Cold frontal system swept through the region late yesterday, paving the way for some much drier and cooler air. This morning, temperatures are generally in the 50s in the Mid-Atlantic regions. Perhaps more importantly, the dew points are way down in the 40s, considerably drier than the last couple of days. And again, spectacular weather can be expected for today as well as Wednesday. The transition day will probably be Thursday with a little bit more in the way of clouds and humidity, and then quite an unsettled period looks likely from Friday right through the weekend, and even a tropical connection to some of the moisture that may get involved here in the Mid-Atlantic region for that time period at the end of the week and this upcoming weekend. Let's take a look at the latest surface map. Cold front has slipped off the East Coast. Just another spectacular Canadian air mass here for this time of the year in the Mid-Atlantic region as this Canadian high controls the weather for the next couple of days. Really just perfect weather today and tomorrow. By later in the week, Thursday or so, this high starts to move off the East Coast, and that kind of opens the door for a lot of moisture. Right now there's a lot of moisture down here over the eastern Gulf of Mexico. We'll look in satellite and radar in a moment to verify that. And in the middle part of the country, there's kind of a corridor of moisture here, and again some more strong thunderstorms right now occurring in Oklahoma where they don't need it, and the threat for severe weather continues today up and down the middle part of the country associated with that cold frontal system out there in the nation's midsection. Well, here's the latest GOES infrared satellite imagery loop from the SSEC Wisconsin website. A couple areas of interest to note. First of all, down here over the eastern Gulf of Mexico, just some powerful thunderstorms popping up here in the lowest part of this image loop, and Florida is likely to get inundated with rain over the next few days, perhaps on the order of 6 inches or more in many locations. Perfectly clear skies here in the Mid-Atlantic region, that cold front well off the East Coast right now, and just wall-to-wall sunshine for today and tomorrow as well. Meanwhile, spinning in the atmosphere, pretty strong storm system for this time of the year over North Dakota, with a cold front dropping on its southeastern flank all the way down into the south central part of the country. And again, some very strong thunderstorms this morning, right now, ongoing over Oklahoma, and all day long there'll be a threat for some strong thunderstorm activity up and down the nation's heartland. So two real large areas of moisture right now associated with this frontal system in the middle of the country and this tropical moisture here in the eastern Gulf of Mexico. Well, here's a still image of the nationwide radar as of this morning. Again, a spinning in the atmosphere, low pressure right here over North Dakota, with a frontal system kind of extending all the way down to its southeastern flank. And this area right here is some strong thunderstorm activity right now in central and eastern part of Oklahoma. Meanwhile, here's a lot of Gulf moisture just sitting there and spinning there. Some of this is from the remains of a Pacific storm named Barbara that actually crossed over Central America into the Gulf of Mexico. So there's some residual moisture here from that Pacific named tropical storm from late last week. It was over the Pacific Ocean, and again it spilled over, the remains of it spilled over into the Gulf of Mexico, contributing right now to this copious amounts of tropical moisture here on the southwestern part of Florida and across the eastern Gulf of Mexico. Again, portions of Florida could get 6 inches or more of rain over the next couple of days. And there are signs that this tropical moisture will advance northeast at the end of the week. We'll get into that in a few minutes, up the East Coast. At the same time, this moisture here kind of heads to the east and puts a squeeze play perhaps on the Mid-Atlantic region for the late week and weekend time period, with some potential heavy rain out of these two areas of moisture right now. One tropical connection here in the eastern Gulf of Mexico, and the other associated with that frontal system in the middle part of the country. Well, let's start focusing in on those possibilities for a squeeze play on the Mid-Atlantic region at the end of the week and the weekend, which could bring some heavy rainfall to the Mid-Atlantic. This is the forecast map from last night's Zero-Z GFS model run for tomorrow morning. Not much difference here from this morning. A strong Canadian high pressure situated in the southeastern part of Canada, sending some cool air down the east coast. Again, very pleasant conditions today and tomorrow as well, with comfortable temperatures, low humidity values. Here's the moisture still kind of sitting and spinning there off the southwest coast of Florida over the eastern Gulf of Mexico. And here's all the moisture depicted by the GFS model out in the middle part of the country with that associated low pressure and associated cold frontal system. Again, this is for tomorrow morning. Let's now jump ahead 24 hours to the Thursday morning forecast map. And here's the Thursday morning forecast map. Kind of a transition day in the Mid-Atlantic region after spectacular weather on Tuesday and Wednesday. Thursday we'll see a little bit more in the way of clouds, a little bit more humidity, perhaps even a few showers and thunderstorms by late in the day or Thursday night. Notice here from 24 hours earlier, this moisture over the middle part of the country headed to the east, and this moisture here over the eastern Gulf kind of consolidating over western Florida and the northeastern part of the Gulf, starting to make a little bit of a move to the north and east. Even low pressure area now depicted here by the GFS model for Thursday morning, perhaps the first official tropical depression of the Atlantic Basin season. We'll see whether or not it actually becomes a named tropical system. Doesn't matter in terms of heavy rainfall will occur over Florida with 6 inches or more in many locations, and all of this moisture will have to be watched as it could take a turn up the East Coast. In fact, let's jump ahead to Friday morning's forecast map. Well, here's the forecast map for Friday morning. Now notice the GFS model tends to move a lot of that moisture across the state of Florida, then to the southeast coast, and even off the southeast coast. Other models, such as the Canadian model, which we'll look at in a moment, has a little bit more of a coastal threat here up the East Coast compared to the GFS model. But we'll also take a look here. The GFS model kind of sends a reflection of surface low pressure back over the Mid-Atlantic region, even though the main core of this tropical moisture is off the coast by the weekend. We'll take a look at the Saturday forecast map in a moment here. But again, this is Friday morning. Still a lot of moisture here that traveled to the east from the middle part of the country, now centered over the Ohio Valley. So we have tropical moisture riding up the east coast, and some residual moisture from the frontal system out in the middle part of the country come Friday morning, and already some shower and thunderstorm activity depicted here in the Mid-Atlantic region by the GFS model. Now here's the GFS forecast map for Saturday morning. Again, it kind of has the main core of that tropical moisture just off the East Coast, but you can see kind of a lagging back of some of this low pressure area depicted by the GFS model. Indeed, it kind of sends a reflection back that intensifies during the day on Saturday, increasing the chances for a continuation of showers and thunderstorms in the Mid-Atlantic region. So somewhat of a tropical connection here for potential shower and thunderstorm activity here in the Mid-Atlantic region come late Friday and Saturday. Now let's take a look at the Canadian model. And here's the forecast map from the CMC, Canadian Meteorological Center model for early Saturday. And it has that tropical low sitting right over the Chesapeake Bay with some heavy rainfall from the southeastern part of Pennsylvania across the Delmarva Peninsula and most of New Jersey here come early Saturday. And yesterday's European model kind of tended to favor the more of a coastal threat like the Canadian model as compared to the GFS model. So there's certainly something to watch over the next couple of days with a potential squeeze play being put on the Mid-Atlantic region with moisture coming in from the west, tropical moisture coming up along the East Coast. Potential heavy rainfall could occur Friday, Saturday, even into Sunday time frame. In fact, let's take a look here at the latest 5-day forecast for accumulated rainfall. This is by the NOAA forecasters. Let's take a look at that right now. And here's the NOAA forecast for the next 5 days of accumulated rainfall, and it kind of echoes what we've been talking about, the tropical moisture over Florida with 6 inches plus of rainfall on the southwestern coast of Florida, for example. Here they have a 7.1. This is, again, accumulated over the next 5 days and up over the right through Sunday morning and up over the northeast and mid-Atlantic region. This purple here is 1.5 inches and higher, so pretty much up and down the I-95 corridor from D.C. to New York City all the way up to Boston and into Maine. Several inches of, well, 2, 3, 4 inches of rain in some spots depicted by the NOAA forecasters over the next 5 days. So quite an interesting scenario for the end of the week and weekend after a couple of spectacular weather days here on Tuesday and Wednesday. That's it for now. For the SIweather.com, I'm the SI meteorologist, Paul Dorian.